To do the web programming, we must know HTML, hypertext markup language, CSS, cascading style sheet, and JavaScript or JavaScript libraries. There are too many, but the pure one is JavaScript. If you know that, you can use any other. Like there are jQuery, React, Vue.js, Knockout.js. There are so many libraries, so you can use any of them. But if you have a basic knowledge of JavaScript, that will be the added advantage to learn any JavaScript framework. All the JavaScript framework internally uh, derived from the JavaScript. And for the web, you must know any server-side technology. So in our class, we are using the ASP.NET. ASP.NET is basically a technology for the web development, under which we can work with different programming languages. For our learning purpose, we are using C#, but you can use a VB.NET as well. For the storage, there are so many databases, but for our learning purpose, we are using a Microsoft SQL Server. And for the learning of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, I had listed a few, a few links that will help you guys to read very small thing. If you are beginner who don't know about anything HTML, etc., and if you know all of them, so for example, here I had written the same message with H1 tag. Basically, H1 tag is for the heading. So we have a heading tag from H1 to H6. H1 is the bigger one. H6 is very small one. And for unsorted list or sorted listed in HTML, we have UL and LI. So this is basically unordered list. And there are so many HTML things, as I already told. So please check over here and just try to understand the syntax of them. So we have attributes kind of thing. So what are attributes? We have anchor tag. Within that, we have this href. So anchor tag have a href attributes. So those kind of things you have to find out with this web programming. And then in our application yesterday, we just had created a new project with the login information that can do the login in our database. So let's try first that. Can we do that, the login in our application without writing any code? So if I will try to run our application, then we get the same page. After that, what we can do, we have an option for the login and registration here. So as this is our first time, we can go with registration so that we can create a user. Then we do the login. So we had not written anything till now, but this is the ready-made feature that we are getting from our project template. So I'm going to provide my email ID and I will add a password. If I will do the register, it says that nothing is done yet. So this is the message we are getting. Migration is not configured yet. If you do the configuration, so there is two ways. Either we can click on apply migration, or we can open our package manager console from Visual Studio and we run these commands. So that will apply the migration, the code that Entity Framework have in our application in the database. And for the same, I had shared the video with you guys too. So I'm going to do the apply migration. So it says that migration is applied, just try to refresh the page. So if I will do the refresh, what I will get? Now if I will try to register with the username password, so if this time I will try, my registration is successful and it shows that register confirmation. This app does not currently have a real email sender registered, so you cannot get the email, but you can confirm from here. So now our user is created. With that, if I will try to log in, and this time I will get the login, but it redirected me on my home page as we had not done anything more. And if you look on this login page, we again have a few things like a forget password. So if you go over here, it will provide you a design for the forget password. But where it is stored, we had not given the database name, anything, but everything is done. How? Where it is written? So let's try to find out that first. So after the migration has been applied, what does actually that migration does? It will run all these queries that is written in this file into the database, and it will maintain the history for our uh, migration that is needed. So that we need to first find out where it is stored. So let me open our database and let's try to guess what is the database name, where it is stored, because we not had given anything. If we had given, then we have a clear idea where it is stored, right? So let's see what the magic has been done with our application. If you see, there is something written over here. So it is stored over here in this database, and it has written its own connection string over here. And the database name is ASP.NET dash. So this is the database. We can also find it from this view tool. We have a server explorer. Server explorer. So let's open this server explorer. And this will open our lot of server that we have running in our database. So what is the name of local DB and MS SQL DB? So this one is the database where we will find our database. Look, and within that, the migration had created few tables. These are the tables generated by the migration. And where will be the user? If we will try to view the data, if we just click, we will get the very similar interface that we got from the SQL Management Studio. This server explorer can open our SQL Server database too, guys. And this one is our database that we had just explored with the SQL Management Studio. You can also do the same operation what you do in SQL Management Studio, but it's better approach to use SQL Management Studio in place of this one. But some people prefer to use this one because it is totally available in Visual Studio and they do not have to open two studio. So our data is stored in this table, and the name is the one friend who tried to guess the name of the database. You are correct. It created the database with our project name, but it had something plus minus with our project, so that our database name will be always a unique, because we not had given. If we will provide our connection string over here, the migration will use this connection string. That is a special class as a model. So I will say add class. We will use scaffolding to build a crude operation with the help of Entity Framework Designer. So for that, I had created a one class in MVC term, a model in the name of customer, where we have a field customer ID, customer name, phone number, bill amount, bill date, and address. And to indicate that this is our primary key, I want to inform our scaffolding tool. If we write on the top of attribute as a key, it will treat as a primary key while generating the database for this one. Now, what we do, we go in our views and we will say add view. And then we will say go with razor view. Then we'll say add. No, not with view. Let's go with controller. So I will go over here. I will say add controller. And this time I will use this MVC controller with view using entity framework. So it will create everything for me. And I will press add button. With that, it will ask me what is the name of your model. So let me select our model. The model is customer. And the application context is our DB context. With that, we have an option to write the name for our controller. So as it is, we can leave like it is coming from our model. So customers controller. And after that, if I will press add, it will create everything for me, including view, controller code, and also the migration ready for the migration update. So let's complete this wizard. So today you will see a lot of works had been done by this scaffolding tool. And a lot of magic is happening inside. So yeah, all the code will be ready. We not have to do anything, hopefully. So everything is ready. Look now what type of controller it got generated. So basically we have a index where it's returning as just a index file. And then we have a GTS controller. And then we have a create controller. And then we have a create with parameters so that we can submit the data from the form. And we are checking whether the data is valid or not with the help of anti-forgery token. And this one indicate that this is the post method. And after that, it will return a view. If the save is done, it will return to on our index page. With that, we have a controller ready, which is automatically generated. We not had written any line of code except the customer model. Now, in order to explore this, now a view is also added in our file. If I will try, let's build first our project so that there will be no any error before running. Hopefully, everything is fine. So all the projects are succeeded. Now, what we do, we will try to open this index view for now. So I will, without running in debugging mode, I will say open in browser. So this will try to do everything, but what will be the problem for now? Let's see. So basically we get few kind of warning and that we need to complete. But let's see what warning we will get. So it says that you had added a model and view, etc., but your database is not updated. So you need to run a migration so that your database is also uh, ready with the migration for that model. So what I will do, I will open a tool of package manager console. This one is package manager console from tool menu, NuGet package manager, and we say package manager console. So in this console, we can run the command that is suggested by the browser. So I will just paste the command and here I'll provide the name for the migration. So the name is customer is added. So with that, it will try to build and build is succeeded. After that, what I will do, I will follow another suggestion like I have to update in database. So I will run this command over here. With that, my database will be updated with the given model. So this time, let me open our server explorer and let's check in our table what kind of table is ready for us. So this one is our database that was generated yesterday, and today in table we must have a table with name customer. So here customer table is ready, and if you check within this for view data, we not have any data yet because we are not had added it. So now as our it's automatically ready in the form of customer index. So now if I will do a create new, it will open a form for me for creation of customer. So I will say Ram and his phone number is something and bill amount is 100 and we have this option as well, guys, and it's very good, right? We had not created anything but it's working. So we have a date time field and address is Kathmandu. So if we press create, a record is added. You can see if you want to add another record similar like we had done some mobile number, bill amount 400, and we have a calendar to choose the date and we'll press create to record is added. To verify that, let's go in our Visual Studio and try to look the data within this one. This time we have a two record over here, which is magically added by the our entity framework code. So I had not written anything. Look, if you try to look the details, this one is also ready. We are able to get the list of that data. And if you want to edit, we have a edit form too. So we say Ram Kumar. And if we save, the data is updated as Ram Kumar. If you want to delete, you can delete it. So this one is the delete button. So if I want to delete, the data is deleted now. If you want to verify in Server Explorer, so refresh it. What's happening? So now we have a single data. That is how everything is done. And without any knowledge, we are able to, with that key, it was knowing that this one is the primary key. So migration code is ready over here. Now have a look how the code is written in our customer controller. We have to try to understand this one so that you can write your own if needed. So this task is done by the help of entity framework and the scaffolding tool. So here in the first index page, what it is doing that if the customer data is not null, then return a customer list, else say that there is no data for the first time and return that view. So every time this one is returning a list of customer from the database. And for the detail, if ID is not null and the customer context is not null, equal null, then say the no data not found. Otherwise, what to do? This is the link query. So we are using the context.customer first our default, and this one is the lambda expression. Someday one of friend was asking what is lambda expression. So here we are providing this one is an enormous value and m.customer id equals id. So if we have something null, then we say nothing is there. Otherwise, we will return that model that we are getting with this query. So this is the way that we have to write the code for entity framework. And for the same, the create, this one is return just a create view. And this one is for the when we press the save button on the create. So whatever the field that we have in the form will come with that and store in this customer object. And after that, we will check model.valid. So if data is not tempered, how it is checked? It is checked with the help of anti-forgery token. So we'll say context.add. This method is coming from where? If you go in definition, you will find this one is written by our entity framework internally. So if we pass the model, this one is the ready-made method which is coming from entity framework. If you explore, you can see this one is coming from the DB context from entity framework. So this is the ready-made method that we'll use for add, and after adding, until and unless we not apply save changes, the data will be not reflected in database. So to save that data in database, we have to say whatever the changes you have, supply to the database, and then after we'll return in the index space so that we can get the listing. So this is the logic for the creation of the form, and for the edit everything is same, just it will find that data and load in customer, and if that is null, we will say not found, else we will return that customer object. And what is written over here in that view for the edit? So in the edit, we have a customer model. So what we are doing, once everything is ready over here, how the data is coming in our this customer name, phone number. So model is here, and this form is generated with this model. So as the field indicates, everything goes inside. And very similar to that, if you look in details, we are binding all the labels with the model dot customer name, phone number, whatever the properties that we have. And once it's done, we have an option for the delete and button danger, and where it posts. So we have a controller that we just explored over here. So name of the controller is our customers controller. Remember in MVC, for the controller class, we always have in last this word controller. Before controller, we will add our name that we need. So everything is coming with DB context, and with entity framework. So all code you can also generate at your end